Hello and welcome to the Watch Your Work show. I am Kevin. You'll see my Twitter handle on here. That's not my Twitter handle right now. I am joined with Kelsey. Kelsey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I am so amped for tonight's show. We like I should have brought popcorn. I should have brought a nice just glass of wine because we are going to dig into some gossipy gossip, and I am hyped for it. We got people
Some
like
spoilers here in the chat.
That's all right. We appreciate spoilers here. We got a good crew like already ready to join us. We had people showing up early with comments even before this. I got some notifications that people are like dropping comments at like noon as soon as we announce who our guest is, because our guest has a following, and our guest is someone who we are so excited to have join us and talk about all things Phoenix Mercury. So Kelsey, are you ready to bring on
Yeah.
our guest?
Drum roll, please.
Hey, it's Ali.
Hello.
Hello, welcome, Aaliyah Bains from. I never know how to pronounce this. I just like say the letters out loud. The PHNX Sports on YouTube. How are
Yes.
you?
Good. So good. So happy to be here. Excited. This is my first being on a different show than just like our PHNX network. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and the PHNX network covers every sport imaginable in like the Phoenix and kind of Arizona kind of area. There is like channels for like Coyotes hockey and like all the college stuff, but you get to hold it down for the Phoenix Mercury. So can you tell us just a little bit about like what your role is and what you do, and kind of how you got focused on the W?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about this before we popped on live, but I'm from Washington. I've been in the Seattle area, so the Storm is still kind of like my hometown WNBA team, but I've always loved and kind of had an affinity for the Mercury. Obviously, Diana being the GOAT is I've been watching her since I was younger, so she's definitely I've always loved the Mercury. I think they're kind of like my heart team, if anything.
A home
And
team and a heart team. I like that.
right? And so just yeah, I kind of just came across this on a whim. I've always really kind of been into journalism. I go to the University of Washington, and so every paper I have the opportunity to write on, I usually talk about the WNBA or something. And
Cool.
I had a professor that kind of pushed me to like get more into it seriously, and kind of just those odd connections. Someone sent me like a tweet from one of the PHNX people and was like, they're looking for someone to cover the Mercury. So I slid in his DMs and it just came into fruition, right? Like, so super
I
excited
love
to
how
be
that's
here.
a way to get like a job now. Just
Right.
Right?
DMs.
Exactly. That's what I like. I was
Yeah.
telling my parents, they're like, you got to jump on Twitter?
Back up. Back up. What are all these journalism terms you're throwing out? I don't know. That's Twitter.
So no, but this is still like my first true like actual gig doing this. So still new, still working out the kinks, still kind of learning how to go. We have our show on usually Thursday nights, and I try to pump out some articles for the Mercury, but again, still learning, still new. I'm dipping my toes into like the journalism world, so I'm really excited, and it's been an awesome opportunity for sure.
Yeah. What time are those Thursday night shows so we can start pumping those on our Twitter too?
We usually do like 7:00 on Thursdays. That's kind of our thing. Yeah.
Awesome. And that is Pacific time.
Pacific time, yes. Well, I think Arizona's technically mountain. We don't do daylight savings.
Okay.
So right now we're like on Pacific time. So
okay.
Time is strange in Arizona.
Easy for now. Yeah, I love the first time I found out that not everyone follows daylight savings, my mind was just blown.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. We just figured out I feel like I just figured out time zones, and now we just can all decide anyway.
yeah.
I wish I could just choose which one I wanted to be in, because then I could catch more WNBA games, I think, on any given day. You could just pick and choose.
Just like self-select by the day. Just like, this is the time zone that I choose for right now. I like that.
That'd be great.
I could live with that.
Yeah.
And Aaliyah, you are in good company for people who are dipping their toes into media and streams and things like this. We are all learning about it together. But Well, one thing we share is a whole bunch of excitement for all things WNBA.
Yeah.
And I think we have a great opportunity to sit down right now and focus on one team in particular. This show, we bounce around a lot of topics every show. And I think right now, this is a great time to dig in on one team and one team in particular. So the Phoenix Mercury, in the time that they have showed up and darn near won a WNBA title in 2021. We are in a much different place of 9-10 months later in July. And they are, I just checked this morning, they are sitting 9th in the playoff standings. And the team just ahead of them, I think they play Indiana. So there's a chance they could be like maybe more than half a game out of the playoff standings for right now. But there's just been a whole lot that has happened with the Phoenix Mercury since the end of the 2021 seain. They let go of their coach. They took a really long time to bring on a new coach. Yeah. Brittany Griner is wrongfully detained in Russia and going through that criminal process there. And we recognize every week that she is wrongfully detained, and we continue to uplift her voice, say her name as often as possible to make sure that she is brought home safely and as soon as possible. And then the team continues to deal with that. The team has dealt with sideline drama, almost fights. They have dealt with contract divorces. They have dealt with throwing out emojis on Twitter towards their own coach and clumsily worded statements by their head coach. Yet they are still in a playoff hunt, and not all hope is lost. Like, Aaliyah, can you help us make sense at all of like what's going on in Phoenix right now?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew. Yeah, what, like, coming out of last season with Sandy Brondello, up and leaving, going to New York. I think the overall mood was that Brondello was towards the end of her career with the Mercury. And I don't think anyone, especially like within the X Factor, was necessarily upset with the move. I think we were a little stunned. I personally thought she'll probably stay throughout the rest of Diana's career, just because they've played so much together. Like, they're kind of hand in hand at this point. But yeah, she kind of up and left. And then I think for a little bit we were hopeful. We were like, okay, there's some good contenders possibly. Becky Hammon still hadn't decided to go to Vegas yet. So there was like small chirps of like, maybe she'll come here. And then, then, right? Like, what?
Like, thinking of that. Like, what would that have been like?
Experience would be right now. But and then, Vanessa Nygaard was selected, and I don't think I have trouble because I love a good underdog story, and I have so much respect for someone coming into a new league, new year, like this amazing roster to start out with as your professional coaching career is a big burden to carry, right? Like, no, shame on that aspect, but I think you have to recognize kind of where your own flaws are. And if you're not what's best for the team moving forward, then you gotta pick up the pieces and move on. But I think even a bigger picture, which a lot of people might not even be keen to, is kind of the Mercury organization as a whole. There's been a lot of movement in the front office and the admin side of things, even with just game day operations. People who have been with this franchise for a really long time are leaving and have been leaving. And kind of, not exactly to point fingers, but I think our GM might have a little bit to do with that. And I think he's possibly making decisions that are making it hard for people who have loved this franchise for so long to stay and be consistent, which is unfortunate, right? And I think unfortunate for especially players like Diana, who have given her entire career to this team, and seen so many successes and so many downfalls and given up so much to kind of end her career on such like an unsteady note is unfortunate in my eyes. So yeah, the coaching situation is odd, especially because we're kind of on an uptick right now. Is she frozen? Am I crazy, right?
No, she totally is. At some point, yeah. I didn't notice it until you called it up. So we can pop her out for a second. There we go. Hello. That's better.
So yeah, I mean, the coaching thing is kind of up in the air, especially because we're kind of on an uptick. Things are looking better holistically on the court. We're not necessarily winning a whole bunch, and but I think we're playing more consistently. I went to the game against Atlanta recently, and I was happy to see like our defense is kind of coming together. We're locking things down that way. Our offense is like starting to pick up a little bit. We're still having issues with like maybe run a play. I don't know, like playbook, like like just kind of simple things aren't, but like things are definitely improving from like our 8-game winning streak that we started out with, right? So things. It's hard to be on the Nygaard hate train because, you know, there's so many things stacked against her during the season. So it's hard to pick a side. And then obviously like the star-studded roster we were given during offseason was also crazy because we didn't. Oh, are we back?
Okay, sorry.
Here we are.
No, I was like, wait a second. I feel like she hasn't even been a minute.
My Wi-Fi cut out. First my audio cut out. And I was like, I'm missing the recap, but I feel like I'll know kind of the recap. So like, this is okay. And then my Wi-Fi was just like, no, we're out. So
all good.
We're back. I think we're okay now.
Yeah, I think Aaliyah noticed that you hadn't blinked in like 2 minutes, and I was, was
like,
a little wrapped up.
That's not my superpower. That is my
But
Wi-Fi.
we're good. We're good. Oh.
Yeah, you know, we had these amazing additions. Diamond DeShields coming from Chicago after just winning a championship with that team. Tina Charles, who was like speaks for herself, like having Diana, Skylar, like we just had so much opportunity. And like Brittany, obviously, like that situation came out of nowhere. Things were lined up to be so good for this team. And better than, I don't know who Greg is, but shout out.
Famously bad Wi-Fi. Famously bad Wi-Fi. Our friend Greg.
Yeah. It happens. We've all been there, right? So, yeah, there was just. I think my thing for this team this year is like the what if. What if we had, you know, the roster that we were expecting? What if we had the coach that we were expecting? What if we had Becky Hammond? What if we had Teresa Witherspoon? Like, you know, what if? But at the end of the day, like you can't expect half of these things. No one can expect that Brittany's gonna get caught up in Russia for 100
right?
Now, right? Like no one can expect that. Yeah. So there's so much movement and so many outsourcing of problems that are impacting the team at a holistic level that it's hard to expect them to be playing at their peak or coaching at their peak or whatever, because there's just so many moving parts that are going haywire. It's like, how do you even succeed at this point? So
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you wonder how some of those other pieces impacted them, like the coaching change at the beginning and Brittany not being there, and how sort of that mental knockoff of kind of all of those things is going to set you up, you know, like you're not really set up to succeid. And so they're doing pretty well despite all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it felt like, I appreciate how you, Aaliyah, sort of talked about the front office issues kind of at the front there, just kind of saying, you know, this is a GM who, you know, is sort of trying to assert themselves and either go the unconventional route with the new coach or, you know, set a tone. And if it's not working out at that very top level, it's hard for a lot of other things kind of underneath it to work out, on top of kind of catching every bad break possible that an organization can get. And then some in a year. And I think one of as we sort of, I don't want to make this entire show about like passing blame around for the organization, but I think a pretty heavy conversation, and in some ways kind of rightfully so, in WNBA Twitter and Mercury Twitter, has been about sort of the status of the head coach. And even amongst like the roster changes, the absences, the injuries, what you have brought up in the in the Atlanta game is a consistent thing that I've seen. Just watching this team kind of every game, I don't know what the playbook looks like. I think it's a win when they can set multiple screens on a particular play and get a lot of people moving. But like, what do you make of sort of what this coaching team has been like for the year?
Yeah, no, it's like like I've tweeted about it a little bit, and like even just talking to other fans, it's like it's almost like we call timeouts, and then like the coaching staff steps away and has a conversation, and like Diana's sitting there telling the players, okay, we need to do this, and this, and then we get out on the floor, and it's like, okay, we're out on the line, like makes sense, like, but then there's no movement, right? And they're like, okay, you run here, you set this screen. I'm like, you can't actively be telling the team.
Also, what was the timeout for?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, you guys, coaches can have that powwow whenever they need to. Like, what are we doing?
Right. And so it's like watching those technicalities. Like, it was before I'd actually even come to a game in person. I like wasn't able to make one until a little bit later, and I was like, Diana and Skylar are like coaching this team. Like, this isn't conventional by any means, and every coach has their quirks and has their things, but I don't know Nygaard's like full coaching experience a whole lot. I know that she was pretty successful at like the collegiate level, and she was an assistant coach in Vegas for the Aces. Wow, and they are not a not successful team, right? Like they've been playing well for the last few years, and so I don't know if it's just like we've been saying, like there's so many outside things happening for these players on a personal level and on like an emotional level, and like also the world is crazy right now. And so there's so many external factors, and I think maybe that makes it the pressure of like, okay, this is probably one of the more famous franchises in the league. We have the considerable goal that I think everybody can agree is one of the best players in the league. Like there's so many strings attached with this Mercury name and title and team that I just, sometimes people crack under pressure, and that's totally okay. But at what point do we as a franchise say, okay, this isn't working and we need to find something else?
And to have come in with such high expectations too. I think that at the beginning of the season, you're seeing, them bringing in all that talent, and you're like, this team could win the whole thing. Like, look at this roster. And then you sort of see how that plays out, and you have Tina Charles leaving, and you're like, what? Oh my gosh. Right. Like, all of these things kind of happen. And you have kind of, it does seem like Skylar and DT are running the show. And I think that also causes some issues. Like, I wonder if that's where a lot of that tension's coming from. Like, and if you don't have a coach that can reel that in.
Absolutely. And then what y'all are saying is reminding me of something that Nygaard said in like one of those preseason press conferences of sort of like, her idea that like she's coaching professionals and she wants to give them, kind of a lot of leeway. And while on one hand you do have the greatest player of all time on your team, on the other, I think you're also paid to like coach and draw up plays and things, and leaving the team in the hands of maybe the two strongest personalities and most hyper competitive people maybe in the entire league can backfire at times, as we've seen in some of the dust ups that they've had as a team.
It feels like so much potential too, though, that like if you have those, you have two people who just want to win, like at all costs.
At all,
if you can channel that energy, that focus, that drive, that if you can make that the team culture in a way that feels positive and collaborative, I feel like that is a recipe for success if it can be channeled appropriately, and I think that feels like what's missing.
Right. And I think, it's unfair to say that Nygaard has done everything wrong, and that's not what we're saying at the moment. But that if you look at Twitter, that's sometimes what happens in the middle of the game. I think one of her strongest decisions was, out of necessity, and after Tina Charles left, was to, really run Brianna Turner at the 5 and move Sophie Cunningham to the 4. Have Taurasi kind of float around on defense on people's like kind of wings and sort of like stretch fours, and really creates kind of this swarming small ball defense that, since Tina left, I looked it up late last week, and they're like second or third in the W and like steals per game. They're creating a lot of turnovers. Their defense wasn't particularly great before that with Tina on the floor and everything. so we have kind of this like interesting lineup and kind of interesting scheme that they have where they spread it, 4 or 5 wide on the offensive side and get into cutting lanes and kick out for 3. And that's works. It works except when it doesn't. And it's sort of got this team to kind of claw back a little bit into playoff contention where they're kind of setting, like we said, right now, a half a game out of the playoffs, don't play until Friday. So they may be a little bit farther than that by the next time they come around on the court. But looking ahead, what do you see as what are their realistic playoff aspirations for this team?
Well, I think especially right now where we are, I think our mindset is play the best basketball that we can, right? I definitely agree with what you're saying about the defense. Our defense has improved significantly, except when it doesn't, right? When we're playing these teams with these big, huge players that we just don't have the height or the bandwidth to really defend and toss up, then things don't go well. And I really saw that against Atlanta, where we were in there and we were turning the ball over and we were getting steals and a couple blocks even. The aggressiveness was there and they were swarming the ball, and I was so impressed with how eyes up they were defensively. But then it was as soon as that player is above our average height, it was over. It was there was nothing. So I think right now, I don't even think we can look ahead, right? I think we're just kind of taking it game by game and trying to play the best basketball that we can. And then, if we get to that point where it's okay, this is our playoff contender, I think it's all about who's on the other side of the court, right? This game on Saturday is going to be Sue's last time in Phoenix. That's going to be intense, especially for her and Diana. It's all going to just depend on who we're playing, what the mindset is. I think something that I didn't start considering until later in the season, especially when I think we were in DC when the team in the middle of a away game run, got news that Brittany was going to be, gone for a couple more months or whatever. It was sort of unfortunate news. And I was that's going to throw your whole mind and mode and everything off. And then that same day we had to go play in DC. That's just not ideal at all. So as cliche and as many times as we said it, I think there's too many external factors affecting each person individually and as a collective to be able to be okay, yeah, if we can beat this team, then we're for sure going to make playoffs. Because I've seen us beat teams that I had absolutely no idea we even had the ability to.
No business beating.
Lose against teams that I'm we definitely could have beat them. So what is happening? So
and that feels like a theme. Yeah, that feels like a W this year.
You never know what team's going to hit the court for us.
I will say Phoenix's schedule coming up does not look super easy. In terms of getting, in playoff contention, Storm, a couple Sun games, Sky coming up at the end to close it out. So I don't think it would be an easy road, but to your point, game by game, flights seem to be getting canceled. Some of these great teams, if they have to travel, they may not get there. So
why are we playing games at noon? Why are we playing games, at 9 a.m. Phoenix time when we just took a flight to Chicago the night before? That doesn't make sense. And also, I've been telling people, I'm I don't consider pre-June WNBA season for us. I'm just gonna happen, right? But we've definitely made a shift in camaraderie and chemistry within the team. Before we were just it was a running joke that they all went bowling or something in Atlanta. I don't remember where it was. It was some away game and everyone went bowling. And that was their team building exercise. I'm what is this? AAU for your first
right? You guys just met.
Exactly.
Name games and icebreakers. Meanwhile, the AAU are slapping each other with tortillas. You're
an influx of they're playing for each other now, and there's a little bit more purpose behind what they're doing on the floor, and just the bench even is more enthusiastic, and things seem to be coming together. So I'm I said, not thinking pre-June. I think that these games coming up, I'm okay, well, we have a very different mindset and very different motivations now. So I think that these teams can can maybe not be the same teams that we played before.
Yeah.
Chris saying the contract divorce galvanized the team.
Right. What's a better icebreaker activity for the team? Yelling F Tina Charles on the sideline or like going bowling? Like that's a great question.
Oh gosh. Yeah. That whole
sort of
situation.
wild that very well may be something that brought them together in that way too. It does kind of feel like the timing.
Like this game coming up Friday, like, you know, Tina now plays in Seattle. So how is that gonna like what's all that's gonna be a good one.
I wonder though if that sort of gets overshadowed by like the Sue DT. I almost feel like that like Sue DT last matchup has more weight. And so I wonder if that kind of becomes the narrative to that game. Which I think is probably good for both teams to have it sort of focus more in that pocket. Hopefully they both have great games, and so that can kind of be another fun element to that. But yeah, I wonder. Hopefully, I mean, I always sort of root for the player to go off against the team that that they left. Right. So I do hope Tina Charles has a game, but.
I just hope like I want to see the X factor, like I want to see the crowd signs, like I want to see something like Petty like show up in the crowd for like Tina Charles leaving and then coming back. And if Tina Charles like can hush the haters, then that's great, and if not, then I'm here for drama. Nonetheless,
good entertainment.
Exactly.
We need more storylines in the W. Like this is stuff, this is the stuff people remember on top of their game. But I think it gives you more context to the game, and so that's sort of how you pinpoint stuff that happens. So hopefully we get the kind of game worth remembering too, and that's our just like ties and through lines. And WNBA needs more stories, so I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And Aaliyah, like what's something from this team that we haven't like brought up yet that you're just kind of like dying to talk about? Like whether it's like what a player contributes or like obscure stats or like things that you notice kind of watching day in and day out.
Yeah. I mean, I think something that's definitely been in my mind is like, Diana's obviously nearing the end of her career, and it hasn't been playing super consistent this season. No. Had really, really good games where she's out there and like, scoring 25.
She's still DT.
Whatever. Yeah. And like, trash talking the refs and getting ejected, whatever happens, you never know. But I think I've seen a lot of talk around like, she didn't make the All-Star game, like, and of course Nygaard, her comments about it not even being an All-Star game without her.
Without Diana.
And then of course that whole just even comment from your coach, and then that just brought up like, oh, well, she's not even playing great this season. And I think she said many times, I'm still playing because I love to play the game of basketball. Yeah. I don't think she's out there to win rings and like be super competitive and like make the next Olympics and whatever. She's still Diana Taurasi and still going to be competitive and still going to like give her best effort. But she knows the limitations of her body. She's been doing this forever. She's got 2 babies at home. Like, I think she's just out there to have fun. And that's why kind of what I touched on earlier is like, I feel so bad that this is kind of like what the franchise is giving her for the end of her career. I think she deserves better of just, and partially like owed to Tina a little bit of like knowing these are my last 2 years of basketball. And like, I want to be on a team that's like consistent and like, I'm just going to be able to go out there and play ball and have fun with it. So yeah, that was kind of like, at first I was like, definitely obviously shocked about the Tina news, but I was like, you know what? I can't be mad at that. That you deserve better and you know what you want for the end of your legacy. It makes me hope that Diana knows like, how valued that she is in this franchise and the fans that have been watching her entire career and everything. So, this team is no short of drama or excess or things that are going on, and hopefully we get some good Britney news soon. That'll make all the difference in the world. But I have this vision in my head, and I know that it's difficult to like put out into the universe because there's so much uncertainty about it. But just like if that team makes the playoffs, to like, what would it mean to have like Brittany Griner sit on the bench? Like if she's able to like come back and like, what kind of symbol does that give the city, the team, the league, and what like a cool defining thing that could be? But that's
that is jumping a whole lot of steps of like a whole lot of like reality. But
I almost feel like we start the narrative for next year now. Where we're like, Brittany's gonna be back. DT's we're starting probably DT's last ride soon. Like every season, it's gonna be like the Sue season. We're like, is this it? Is this it?
Yeah.
Is this it? So we're just waiting right for that. And you get them back together. Hopefully DT just has so much fun. They like let her cook a little bit. I'm trying to think of what the ideal, like how do they sort of set it up so DT can sort of be the best version of herself at the level she's playing at now. Because I do think in some ways she's like a defensive liability. And so if you're trying to win a championship, it's hard to keep DT like out there for, the whole game and on both ends. And, when she's firing on all cylinders and hitting all her threes, like, yeah, get her out there. But like, what could they do? Or like, what kind of season does it look like for DT where like this should be it. This should be her last. You know what I mean? I feel like they just let her camp at the 3-point line and get a defensive threat.
Yeah. Well, and like the nice thing about Sue Bird is like she told us, right? Diana said many times, like, I'm not telling anybody. Like probably she's gonna go when she's ready to go. So it's like, you never even know. Like there's no way to even prepare for her. This could be her last season for all we know.
Do we think she goes out this season? I feel like she wants some. I feel like she wants to go out on a higher note, but I don't know.
Because I think I agree, but at the same time, I'm like, she's won everything. There's nothing she hasn't done.
No, that's so true.
She's still out there to win, right? So part of me is like, I kind of think maybe this is it for her. And I think
that's a hot take. I like it.
Like if Brittany is able to come home and be back, which she said, which I don't know if this was directly from her or from her wife or something, but like has said, like, I'm not coming back and gonna get right back on the court. Like I need time to decompress, rightfully so. Absolutely take as much time as you want.
God.
So it's like with that being unknown, I think the only realistic thing that I would say is gonna tie Diana to this team is if Brittany's back and is like, I'm gonna be on the court
ready to play.
But I think like my degrees in criminal justice and poli-sci. So I'm like, my like political science brain, like analyzing the situation, I'm like, she's not coming back anytime soon. So like it's but then again, you never know because look at where she is.
Well, and to your point, even if she does come back soon, like how soon does Sue need to be to then be in playing condition, mental condition, like
physically?
She needs time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
that's such a good point.
I think I'm just gonna pretend like she'll be here forever. That's all.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. What do we think DT does next? Like Sue goes into broadcast. I feel like Sue's already sort of set that up.
I've seen a little Twitter buzz about like who's gonna come coach the Mercury like next season, like after she's done in Seattle, and I'm like, oh god, I don't know how I feel about that one because some people love it and some people I'm like, can you imagine Sue trying to tell Diana what to do and like vice versa, like Diana listening to her? No, that's never gonna happen.
They have to pay DT as a coach then that season, I think, because they're like I think she'll be her assistant coach, like that's how she transitions out.
Exactly.
Diana's like, I'm going in, I'm driving to the play.
Right. But yeah, I think I agree with Sue broadcasting. But Diana said she wants to own. She said she's not interested in coaching. That's not her like forte. But she wants to like get more like women in leadership and in like the owning part of things. I know she was super like into like Atlanta's, ownership change after who was it? Renee Montgomery.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Bought out that team. So yeah, I know that's what she wants to do. And I think also like, she's got babies at home. She's got kids to raise and a wife at home. So probably just be a mom for a little bit, right?
Yeah. I'd love her owning a team. Right when expansion too, give Diana her own her own franchise.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. And that timing feels right.
Yeah. What are players do you think are good fits that Phoenix might trade for? It seems like some of their moves recently did not really work. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think anyone's looking to come to Phoenix right now.
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Our first you know, we need to figure out a solid coaching situation. Even if we make it to playoffs this season, I think hopefully there would be a hard look at kind of like who's going to lead this team next year and moving forward. Hopefully we can get a really solid, you know, person in there so that we can kind of get back those big names that are here. Yeah, Chris saying if GM is trash, the pool of coaching talent dries up quick. Exactly. Like, I think
Good
this
point
is
from earlier.
just the coaching thing that, like I said before. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We need a little bit of revival in the Mercury organization, and if we can get that, then you know the shortage of talent is not gone. Like there's so many applicable players in this league that would be great fits. We just need to clean up our front office and our coaching situation before we can really like look at who we want on our roster, because clearly we can't keep them there. So
I'm trying to think too of who would even be sort of available. It feels like any names that come to mind.
I think you're muted also. I like feel like you're talking, but we can't hear you.
I did totally mute myself to take a drink, and then I started talking again. I'm so sorry.
I thought it was my Wi-Fi. I was like,
We've
oh,
done
I
this
can't
before,
hear
I
him.
promise. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
your question of who's available? Yeah.
Yeah, like who? I don't know.
I mean, I miss like the old, like I want Leilani Mitchell back, and I want like, I mean, I like Candace Dupree. I think she's still technically a free agent. Like I know she's not really like actively out there seeking and stuff, but I'm like, give me the old dream team. Like I want a revival of like the Mercury organization. Honestly, I'll even take Brundella.
We need
back
a revival. That fits that revival theme.
But yeah, I think there's a shift coming for the league as a whole. I mean, we've got, you know, Sue's done this year. Diana's coming in of her career. Candace Parker is like, I swear, announced retirement, but then like people are like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't leave. I don't know.
I thought so too.
Confused about that. You know, Sylvia Fowles is gone. Like,
you have this huge talent sort of leaving, and then all this talent coming in from the NCAA women's game in the next few years. Like it really does feel like it's sort of all happening at the same time, and I think good timing. I think it's going to be a cool sort of switch over there. I think which like even odes to more of like me thinking like this might be Diana's last year. I just think I don't foresee basketball without Sue and Diana. Like I just don't think that's possible. And you know, and I think there's just too much, you know, there's too many people leaving and too much turnover for her to like continue. And I think she knows where her limits are, and like it's time for the new wave of basketball to come in. That's okay, and that doesn't necessarily include Diana Taurasi on a player level. But I think she said too that she's revamped her whole diet, nutrition, like physical regimen to be able to play at this level still. And she's like, I've done a lot to keep my body in the game. Like it's hard work.
Absolutely. Like she's vegan. Like her I remember like watching her, I don't know if it was a documentary or something, but like her dad was like super upset she was gonna eat meat anymore. They're like, they're from Argentina, so they have like very cultural like food practices, and so it was like a whole thing. She's given up so much to play this long, and she still has so much life ahead of her though that like she got to pull the plug somewhere, unfortunately. But
and DT's last year heard here first.
Right. And I mean, if she leaves, if she moves on, I mean, the team has to figure it out quick. They don't have a draft pick for the next couple of years, and it's a lot for them to figure out. And I mean, to go back to what you said, you know, like 20 minutes or so ago, Aaliyah, this team cannot afford to look ahead at all. Like they have to go game by game just to get through this season if they just want to like survive as a team. And so we filled up like a good amount of time just like talking Phoenix again. Like our streak is intact of like starting shows saying, I don't know how long we can go on this, but it goes 40-45 minutes, and that's
For those of you
that's
watching,
good by
we do that
us.
off air every show.
Yeah.
We're like, do we have enough thoughts? Do we have enough? And we always do. We always have enough thoughts.
and so let's give our viewers let's show some appreciation to folks who are sticking with us. And we have along our NBA Top Shot side, we have a couple. Where'd they go? We got a Diamond to Shields up here to give away. We got one more down the stream that I was able to pull in a pack. And so what I would like you all to do, all you Team Hold Degens who love their moments, and all the newbies who maybe are getting new to Top Shot, let's throw hashtag PHNX in the chat, and we can do a little giveaway for one of these Diamond to Shields moments that we have. And Top Shot Tesla, thank you for lining Mike's bank account with your cash. You don't need to apologize for being late. We're happy that
Mike's
you're here.
also live now, which is why I'm relegated to a different room of the house.
I know.
My Wi-Fi is bad.
Aaliyah,
are you familiar with NBA Top Shot?
No, I literally have no idea what's going on right now.
I was like, we pulled this up. Like, do you know what this is? So there's, are you familiar with NFTs?
Yes. Somewhat.
Okay. So those are NFTs of basketball plays.
Okay.
It's a video clip moment that you can purchase, sort of like a playing card. They rolled out WNBA moments, so now they have WNBA on this platform. So they do challenges. There's like all sorts of cool stuff that's starting to roll out. It's a relatively new kind of. I mean, NFTs they're not super new, but sort of in the zeitgeist right now. But yeah, they're pretty cool. So this show originated from. We're sort of like under another YouTube channel that talks about Top Shot all the time. So a lot of people in the chat, sort of from our side, are often here for our conversations about these moments specifically. So yeah, so we're giving one away, which incentivizes them to come hang out with us sometimes. But we're not about that. We will bribe you with moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are here to incentivize having friends as much as possible, just by giving them things. That's how we do things.
I think also, though, it has brought a lot of NBA fans kind of into the WNBA, and this is a way they've learned about these players and seen their game, and gets them to watch more W, which is always the goal. So we appreciate.
All right, we're gonna let's jump in, let's spin, and then we will jump back into. Let's do some like underdog over under picks. Ali, if you'd like to join us for that too, that would be great. If
this is what we said as well, Josh.
There you go. And Josh.
Oh, I forgot that if you share the comment. Josh, I don't know.
You totally.
I would.
We made a whole show out
I
of
would
this.
guess Josh does not have a Top Shot account if he said I'd never get into NFTs. So if you decide to make an account, let us know.
If you decide to make an account, DM Kelsey, DM Watch Her Work, and we'll get you hooked up with that particular moment. We'll get you your freebie one. Just like right there.
Josh, you have to get into NFTs now. This is very like low stakes NFT. It's like its own platform. If you've thought about dabbling in the NFT space, this is a very user friendly way to go. Excellent. Kevin, you may have a promo code. Do we have referral codes now? You should send him yours.
Josh is
those sort of thing.
He's with us at PHNX, and he's the unofficial president of my fan club. So
incredible. Wait, how do we join?
Yes.
You're welcome. You're initiated.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Josh, let us know when our meetings are. We'll be there. I know Thursday nights at 7 p.m. West Coast time. We got to be.
Right.
We'll be there with good Wi-Fi. We will unmute ourselves when we need to and when appropriate. Like this, what's happening now is not an indication of us.
Listen, I'm great in a chat. I can hang in a chat.
There we go.
Excellent.
Josh, this may also have affected the algorithm. Maybe this is the real secret. Josh was here before anyone else.
All right. And so while we're on the theme of like new experiences and everything, Aaliyah, let's jump into talking with our Underdog fantasy picks. So Underdog is another thing that we have a promo code for. If Underdog is something that's new to you, it is like best ball drafts for things like the NBA and NFL. For every other sport imaginable, they do kind of daily over-under picks. And if you want to sign up, you can get your initial deposit matched just by putting hold in the little promo code on there. And let's make sure that we type this in the chat, and I'll try to talk and type at the same time. It never works, but
while you do that, I'm going to share Josh's other comment. I feel like we're learning so much about Aaliyah from the chat. I feel like they're really
what was bound to happen.
Yeah. You already, but you can tell you have a cool community of people that know you and love you, and so it's just it's even more exciting. It makes it fun. I'm glad we're sort of getting this other layer of the chat participation as we learn about you and meet you on the show as well. So I love that.
I mentioned Giancarlo one time, and now they won't let me.
Giancarlo though was rocking Louisville jersey at one of his concerts for Haley Van Lith. And I was like, yeah, I'm a fan.
Full circle.
I'm there. So
yeah, I don't know if Kelsey's going to have to like renounce her like chairmanship of the Haley Van Lith fan club in order to join Aaliyah's, but you know, we'll have to work through the logistics.
Yeah, no.
Of that part.
Yeah, big HBL fan. By big, I mean like watch the NCAA Women's Championship games. It was like, she's cool. This is great. And then see Kelsey Plum always sharing Insta stories about her. I was like, is this
totally
a conspiracy?
Us Washington natives like to stay close. So
there you go.
Just staying tight in the dub. All right. So it looks like the 9:30 game is Indiana, LA. What do we see here for kind of our over-under lines? The last time we did this, I think we picked 5, and my first pick, I called out like Brittany Sykes, saying I don't think she's going to score like 12 points or something in a game because she was coming back off of injury, and of course she scores like 16 and screws up the whole parlay. But so I'm not going to call out anyone as an under on the front end.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not tempting fate like that anymore. So let's see, like, what thing seems like a good over for tonight.
I always root for Kelsey's.
Yep.
Naturally.
Kelsey Mitchell.
I feel like the Kelseys have been good for me when I apply my Kelsey theories to sports betting. So
sure. If I was going to do an over, it would be like 2.5 threes. Everything else kind of seems tough for Kelsey Mitchell, unless it's points, rebounds, assists. That seems doable. Queen Egbo, 6 rebounds. That seems kind of low. We can get on the Spark side here. And I think Katie Lou would score like more than 12, but I don't know that I feel strong enough to like really like put that into a bet.
Yeah, this is a lot of pressure, I feel like.
I know, this is a lot.
You gotta, so if you have, so you said 6 rebounds, you felt either was one of them you said you felt was low. Was that the 6 rebounds
for Queen, I felt like 6 rebounds was low.
I think if you have an instinct of like, this feels low, that's where you.
Okay.
That's where
smashing
you
it over. Now let's do an under.
I
now
think
let's
if your instinct is like, this feels low, then you can pick it over, because they want you to pick overs, but then like it feels hard to pick an under. It's more fun to pick the overs, and they know that, because you want to root for things than against things. You know what I mean? So you're like, feels low, easy over.
So Kelsey Mitchell, 20 points seems high, but I think I played her in DFS their last game, and she scored like 9 points. So she may be ready for like some kind of breakout party. I'm not for sure.
And I think too, I'm trying to think of that matchup with LA.
Yeah, I'm trying to not picture Mercury for a minute. I'm like,
I know. Sometimes it's hard to switch gears when you're like,
it was a hard shift out of Phoenix. Yeah. let's see. So I feel like
Queen.
Shanae might be someone I'm just gonna like stay away from because I'm not sure what like her playing time is gonna be in this game, because I know that LA is more back to full health than they've been in a while. And that could impact her playing time. Brittany Sykes is back. On this one, you cannot play multiple props from the same player. And if you're going to do the multiple ones, you do have to mix it up between teams, which I guess you can't do one. But yeah, if you're going to do like 3, you have to include a different team on there. All right. So Heath says
I don't think I knew that. You can't do both.
I'm pretty
like
sure
you couldn't do 2.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have to do 1 from each side. Like you have to include 1 from Indiana and 1 from LA.
Right. And see,
I'm
see, it's
sure
not
you
going to
do
let me
multiple.
do multiple ones on there for Queen. Yep.
Okay.
He said that the Alyssa rebounds might be high. Man, I don't know what she's been pulling recently, but sort of when she came out of the gate as a rookie, like she was pulling down like 8 or 9 boards a game. I mean, she was going to be matched up between NECA and Liz, so that could be a challenge. So you know what you're calling it? We'll go under on that. And so we're gonna have to call something out here from the Los Angeles side.
I was looking at NECA.
Yeah.
The 28.
Oh, good job, ATCJ. No Liz Cambage tonight. Yep.
So do we still think the Smith rebounds are high?
Well, we'll see. Aaliyah, I'm sorry, we interrupted you. What were you going to say?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm still kind of shooting in the dark here.
So are we.
I think for the 28 combined points, rebounds, assists is a little high.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a pretty
maybe
big cushion too.
I didn't know Liz wasn't playing. So maybe I think without Liz, I would say under for that.
Okay.
Or over. Or
over?
I think she's going to do more. I don't know which one that is.
Okay.
Let's hit it over. I mean, she's
so over is like they're gonna score more than this number.
Yeah. Okay. That's my only contribution.
without Liz,
I like it.
Absolutely a double kind of.
That's a great
performance.
That's a great call.
Yeah.
She's gonna have to if you think it's also you kind of have to think. I say this all the time, but think of like what you think the game is gonna look like. So if you think that Indiana has any shot at keeping it even a little bit competitive, certain people are going to have the ball more, certain people are going to have to play better. And I think NECA's one of them. If we think that may be a competitive game, she's going to have to play pretty well. So
a deep threat over on Brittany Sykes points. I think that's probably a good way to like counteract my my bad luck last time. So get Brittany Sykes back in my good graces. And I think you're right. Someone else is going to have to do the scoring. Yeah. Let's throw that on. And let's see. Do you think I should stick with the under on Alyssa Smith rebounds? I think I'm going to still stick with it and just say that Queen is the person that goes off for Indiana. Because what we've seen from like Liz Cambage's backup in LA, at least from a DFS perspective, is that they had not contributed a whole bunch. But how do we feel about this? Queen over 6 rebounds, Alyssa under 8.5. NECA over on the 28. Yeah. Heath also saying RotoWire is projecting 9.7 boards for
I think that's probably also because there's no Liz. But
yeah.
I mean, I feel like you go with your gut. I feel like you're going to change it. And then it's going to be under.
Exactly. We're going to go with the gut.
If you go with the first thing, it's like multiple choice tests. It's like whatever your first answer was, the odds of it being the other thing are not great. Like it's usually your first instinct. So we're just going to apply that logic here and over the rest.
We're going to throw a 5 on that.
Look at you. Close.
There we go for that. I know it's a big bet for me. We're normally a $1 bet team over here. But
special occasion today.
Exactly. We're feeling important with company over.
Like Top Shot Tesla sponsored this Underdog.
All right. So thanks for thanks for hanging out with us so far. Let's see. We have one more chance to throw PHNX in the chat. And while people are doing that, I'm going to leave Rowdy Rod up here while we navigate tabs. Speaking of fun things to do on NBA Top Shot, I have a pack to open. Reward
you're getting
pack.
the full Top Shot experience.
We sure are. So we're gonna see how we roll this time. Aaliyah, for the on a weekly basis, Top Shot puts out things called flash challenges, where depending on how players perform, you can set up what's called a showcase of multiple moments of players that you own on here for an opportunity to win free packs based on how those players do. Sometimes it's like most rebounds over the weekend, some combination of like steals and assists. This one was
pick the parameters first, and then whoever.
Yep. And this was a stuff the stat sheet weekend. So then they gave us, as part of that, you won a Sabrina award. So let's go back here. I thought clicking on it would help me open it, but I have to click open. There we go.
Normally packs have multiple moments in them, so you get multiple players when you open it up. But this is just going to be one Sabrina moment. But what we're looking for, like regular playing cards, is the serial number. Josh.
Oh, this is what you need to do. All right, so let's see what we got here.
This is so fun.
Yeah. Can you hear the music on your end?
There's music too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So then we got the little party here. So New York Liberty. Okay. Mine was kind of a higher serial, and this is what the play is.
There you go.
Yeah, that works. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So not the best cereal in the world, but that's all right by me. I'm
like facing my screen.
Right.
Anytime you add a Sabrina to your collection, it's a good time because she's a person who shows up a lot on flash challenges.
Moment too.
She's a great person just sort of having a collection. And then we can sort of we can take a tour. We have like one more minute. We can take a tour on some of these other WNBA moments that we got. We got a whole bunch of trade ticket packs on here, which are just some higher mint count moments that not everyone is in love with. Let's see. Let's go. Let's show you here. So this is one that was from All-Star Weekend. This was one of the Kelsey Plum layups. And I think you get to see like her comically small MVP trophy on here as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I love me some Kelsey Plum. We have the same alma mater, Huskies, over at the University of Washington. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
The Washington.
I love Kelsey.
There it is. So slow.
Right.
Yep. Oh my gosh. And then if you stick around on the page, the folks who write these descriptions on them are just the best. Kelsey's fiance Mike does great readings of Top Shot moments. If you want to go back to some old videos, they're very dramatic. He does a great job at it. Right? It still makes me laugh. I still say Troofy anytime that you see it.
Oh, Troofy.
Troofy. In Top Shot Tesla, just lining our pockets. This is when you're supposed to say not financial advice. I'm getting close to funding a seat at the wedding. W needs to be marketed better. So many personalities. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Top Shot Tesla. My
supporting
wedding's
the
in a
W.
month.
My financial advice is keep supporting the W.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, Kelsey Plum, her story just from last year, like 6th Woman of the Year to now All-Star MVP. You love to see it.
Yes.
And her being I'm a starter and I want to be a starter.
Yeah.
This is our joke last week, is that we called it a trophy and not a real trophy. So that was our hashtag last week. Josh, this is not you winning again. Just so you know, we're gonna draw one more time. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't know that this was a thing. We should have made this a thing, right?
We did.
No!
way.
Again.
No way.
Oh my gosh.
This is
Okay,
too good.
no, we have to stop saying the name Josh on this stream.
Oh
So like
my gosh.
whatever
Wait, but you
energy is
hadn't
happening.
shared his comment. That's so funny. Because you
Right,
did have a
right.
comment up. We think that it's if you put the comment up, that's who wins it. But
No.
man, that's really funny.
There you go.
I was like, is it gonna stop on
Congratulations.
Josh again? Yeah, no,
Right?
Josh, Josh needs to get into every show that does giveaways. Just like get in those chats.
Right?
Coming for you, Josh. Yeah, I think now this means Josh has to get a Bored Ape.
Yeah, you got a lottery ticket right now.
Yeah, go do
you have to
something. Go make an underdog lineup. Like you got options.
Right.
Right?
You
And
have
then
to
once
get
you make your Top Shot account, let us know so we can send you the moment, and then we can also send you some other moments because I have some I could gift. We love bringing new people on.
Back-to-back
send over some
wins
stuff
for Mac Attack on every week. So congratulations to him and good luck to the Fever tonight, Mac. Aaliyah, thank you so much for hanging with us for an
Yeah.
hour. What are things that you can plug? Like, how can we support you and your brand growth and everything like that? Like what's going on in your world?
Yeah, no, I'm so appreciative of, like I said, this is my first like kind of guest appearance like experience. So thank you guys for being so welcoming and everything. It was so fun to talk basketball. Definitely, obviously check out PHNX. I guess I unironically have this background saved for my my account. So, but yeah, definitely check out all our shows. Obviously, the Mercury. We have coverage for every Arizona sports team you can think of, even not just in Phoenix. So we're awesome. It's a tight-knit family. Obviously, if you're in the Phoenix area, check out Four Peaks, which is one of our sponsors, DraftKings, one of our sponsors. And I think, we're going to be opening a actual sports bar soon in Phoenix. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, definitely come hang out with us at the PHNX Sports Bar. Josh, definitely you've been here longer, so please drop any plugs in the chat that I'm not plugging. But yeah, like I said, we're usually Thursday nights at 7. Sometimes we have to pull a Wednesday night. We actually will be on tomorrow. So this week it's Wednesday, but yeah, again, super appreciative. It was so great to meet y'all and talk basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so
and
much
like a deep thread said,
time.
if you make a Top Shot account, let us know because we will.
Yeah.
The people in this chat who are Top Shot people will send you moments and you'll be like, I have NFTs now. Like they just showed up. They're here. So you let us know. Check out the show tomorrow night, everyone. You're in this chat. We know you're around.
Yep.
And
yes.
Chris shouting out All City Network, who's like our parent network. So shout out them. We have Chicago sports and Denver sports. So we're all over. We're global at this point. So yes.
Yeah.
Also, Attack, Mercury, well, there you go. That's all I needed.
Community is appreciative of you. We're appreciative of you. And I think that's going to be our week. So we record every Tuesday. Next week happens to be my birthday. It happens to be the Commissioner's Cup, and we're trying to set up a party for it. Because the game is on Amazon Prime, our playback stream could happen, couldn't happen. Our team over at Get Playback is trying to make sure that we can stream, but Amazon has some weird rules, I guess. So we may have to start our show a bit earlier than normal.
Not
but
the W with roadblocks to viewership.
I mean, if Jonquil Jones can't watch a game in her own hometown, did you see that on Twitter? That was so bizarre. She was in Connecticut and couldn't watch Connecticut's game. If the MVP can't watch your game, what hope is there? So yeah, stay tuned for information on that. Check out our show notes where our Twitter is at, where our Discord is. Also check out the WNBA Collectors Community Discord. Mac Attack and Snapper, you are folks who make that community so great. And yeah, everyone have a good week.
Aaliyah now. Her Twitter handles
Aaliyah now.
In her
and the whole PHNX
now
sports team on Twitter and YouTube
for winning. Yeah. But we do know Josh follows her, so Good to go there.
All
Mac
right.
Attack, go get that follow quick.
Folks, have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you again.